Well, hello, and welcome. My name is Karen Sherwood, and it is great to have you here. Welcome to our very first episode of BG5 Solutions, Empowering Human Potential in Life, Leadership, and Business. So today we're going to be exploring what BG5 Solutions is all about. We're also going to talk about how we can support you in navigating these crazy shifting times that we're living in. So before we get started, I'd like to invite my fellow team members to introduce themselves and say a quick hello. So let's start with Shelly. Shelly.
Hi everybody. It's great to be here. I'm happy to be on chatting with Karen and Rob about BG5 and the incredible tools that it provides for career and business. Excited to talk about that.
Great. Well, great to have you here, Shelly. And Rob.
Karen, thanks for the invitation. I love this subject, so I could go on and on. I help leaders create highly engaged teams so that they do their best work and their companies end up making a lot more profit using this system.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, it is my absolute pleasure to have both of you here today, and we're just going to dive right in. So, especially for those of you who may be wondering, what is BG5 and what is this BG5 formula that we use? So, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to discuss what the BG5 formula is all about and what the 16 success codes are all about, because this is what we utilize to provide you with really practical solutions in your career and business. So let's actually start off with Rob. And Rob, would you share with us a little bit about what this BG5 formula, the 16 success codes, is all about and how we utilize it?
Sure. So, everything begins with the individual, right? And so when you look at an individual, you need to be able to actually see what they actually are. There's over the decades, there's been a lot of tools out there like personality assessments and otherwise. And then we've got especially in the world of talent acquisition, you've got this tool called a resume, and then you've got the interview process, you've got LinkedIn profiles, and all these other things. And the thing that I like about BG5 is essentially what it shows, not only the individual, but maybe someone who's considering that individual for whatever purposes, work-wise, is precisely what that person brings to the game. Like uniquely, deeply, and precisely, like and objectively, right? It's right there, and it's unmistakable. So the 16 codes is a way of showing an individual who they are, and as well as who they are not, which is interesting, so that they can then take and understand more fully their traits, their strengths, their gifts that they actually bring, their genetic expression. And then where they might be pulled off track, where things might slow them down, where they might have difficulties. And then that helps leaders understand that as well in their hiring decisions. That's a whole separate subject. All the way down to, based on this person's design and what resides within their codes, what is their life purpose? How is their life meant to unfold? And what does that look like? So that an individual can then take that information naturally and be that, versus all of the other things that we've been taught to be our entire life.
Yeah, beautifully said, Rob. And the thing is that in most businesses, we use some kind of assessment tool to get a feel for our employees. We use assessment tools to find out how we are best designed to lead. And a lot of the assessment tools are good and give us a certain level of understanding. But one of the things that I have found, because I have spent most of my life trying to fix myself and trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and I've taken every assessment tool out there that I could find, trying to figure out how to fix myself. And this was the first tool that I've ever used where I realized that there's really nothing to fix. And as Rob just described, it really lays out all of those elements that we're really searching for, not only what we're good at, but also what we're not good at. So we don't spend our time and energy and waste a lot of unneeded stress trying to build up our weaknesses when we can just let them go and really focus on really what our strengths are all about. So I would love to hear from you, Shelley, in how would you describe the BG5 formula and the 16 success codes, and also how it's applied to you personally?
Yeah, I love everything you guys have said. You really laid it out clearly. And the piece that really resonates the most with me, because this has been my experience, is about finding out who you are so that you have a clear guidance tool to actually help you connect with yourself and come from your true self, your genuine self, being authentically yourself. That term authentic has been bandied around for so many years now. And when it first came out, it actually really annoyed me, because I thought, why is everybody pretending to be authentic? Because everybody was searching to find their authenticity. And I didn't know what they meant, but I felt it very deeply that people were struggling with it. The thing that really interests me most, and what I work with people on is avoiding burnout or recovering from burnout, because as a result of not knowing who we are and perhaps being in the wrong place, in the wrong career, in the wrong kind of job, like Rob was saying, having been trained to do a particular thing, thinking that, and I think this is the biggest key right now, is we've been conditioned to believe that we have to go do something, insert whatever conditioning you've had, in order to make a living. In order to survive. And that a lot of the time that meant doing something we really didn't like. And none of us are designed to do work we don't like. It's the fastest way to burn ourselves out, is to have to get up and struggle every day to go to a job you hate. It really does drain you. And even like in my case, I didn't hate my job. I actually quite enjoyed my job, but as most workplaces are today, there's just an overload of work to be done and not enough resources to get the work done. And I think that's where BG5 really comes in handy, is helping leaders, because right now leaders are scrambling to try to respond to and adapt to these crazy changing times. And they're continuing to change rapidly. So how does a person keep up? And I've been reading a lot of reports around burnout, and a lot of it comes down to the manager. And I remember hearing in my time at my last position that the manager either, a person will either stay with an organization or leave because of the manager. Because the manager is the one closest to the team, managing the team and their daily workload, their daily activity, but they're overwhelmed, they're overloaded. They don't get the proper support and training to be able to provide support for their team. And they have no clue of whether or not they've got the right team members doing the right work, because never before BG5 have we had a tool that could show us whether or not people are in the right positions in their team, doing the work that they're best suited to do, which would regenerate their energy, as opposed to burn them out, trying to do a bunch of things that need to get done, but they're not things they like doing, but they're doing them because they need to get done. And so, so much of it comes back to just even understanding your career type and how your energy is best utilized, and what the pitfalls are that you can fall into really easily if you're not aware of it. And those too can burn you out. So with the success codes, we have a clear map and a blueprint for each individual, to show them, to help them be on the track that's going to give them the most satisfying, successful career. And then those tools extend into work we can do with leaders, with the alpha leader, to show them where their strengths are and where they need allies, and how to best get their team set up for success. So I just love this system as a tool, practical tools, like you said, for really making a difference in these busy, hectic, crazy times.
Yep, exactly. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the system that we all utilize, is that ability to not only do it for ourselves as an individual, to understand ourselves, but for leaders to understand how they're specifically designed to lead. Not everyone is designed to lead in the same way.
Mhm.
And when we read leadership books or we're trained how we should lead, it may be perfect for someone, but it may not be perfect for you. So really understanding how you are specifically designed to lead and then being able to understand your team. And as Shelley was saying, the manager, the leader can make or break a team. So one, if you know how to lead, and two, you know the makeup of your team itself, and you can actually see, we literally can put together a map, a blueprint of the team itself and how the team is designed to operate. I don't know of any other system out there on the planet that goes to the level of detail that we're able to access in using the BG5 success formula. And I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add to that, Rob.
Well, when you started talking about the team dynamics as well, I think that for me, that's where it really gets exciting. Yes, it's always fantastic as an individual, and this impacted me in 2015 when I got to see my own blueprint. It answered everything. But then understanding that at work, even in the world of COVID, we're still interacting as groups. And no one has put forth the knowledge or the technology or the understand or the know-how or a system to help explain the dynamics of that. And so we have this, and that is why literally I'm chomping at the bit to get this out to the world right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Did you want to add something, Shelley?
Oh, just as you're talking about the groups and groups working together, I think my own personal story, I did face burnout, and it took me quite a few years to recover. And in that process, I found the BG5 system, and it was really helpful for helping me really understand myself and what had happened. And one of the key things that I realized was none of us are aware of how our energy is being utilized when we're in a large group, and what's getting pulled out of us when we're in a large group, what gets used of our energy. And so being able to see your own blueprint and understand how your energy is contributing to a small team or a large organization, for me, it was a difference between working in a healthy way and burning myself out. And I burned myself out a few times before finding this, and now really realize how important it is for all of us to be aware of our own design and how we're being, how that's working for each of us or not.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
And now more than ever,
Mhm.
it is really important to understand how you're designed, how others are designed. And so I would love to hear from both of you as well, why now more than ever, based on your own experience, is understanding this information and understanding yourself more important now than ever, especially in navigating the world of job and career and business. Why is this information, in your experience, why is it so important? Would you like to start us off, Rob?
Sure. Well, so I've been in the executive search space for the past 11 years, and my job was, and still is, to help match the company with the right individual. So firsthand, I've gotten to see the repetitive mistakes, and I'm not picking on any one particular leader. This doesn't discriminate. This hits everybody. Okay. Like I said, there's nothing out there other than the business books and the former assessment systems, etc., that have gotten us just to this point. But if you just took the past couple of years, that and all of the things that have transpired as a result of that, if you pay attention on LinkedIn, you see a lot of different phrases: the Great Resignation, the Great Shift, future of work, all of these things. All of those monikers are trying to communicate to the world that this is not the same, and everything that was conventional before is literally obsolete. It was almost as if the past 2 years just wiped it all off the table. And so, Shelley was talking about the fact that leaders are scrambling. They were already scrambling before this, still trying to solve the problems of talent acquisition, still trying to figure out how to keep to build engagement. if there were ever a pandemic, by the way. And then the talent optimization, now that I've got this great team, how do I get them to be who they are supposed to be for maximum everything, right? And so, since conventional wisdom's been wiped off the table, and it's almost as if the business world, it was a snow globe that's been shook, and it seems like every 6 months something else comes along and shakes it. We could use the current bank failure as another thing that's going to shake the business world up. We could talk about layoffs, all these other things. All of these are symptoms that are showing us that it's time to maybe stop down and take a look inward at ourselves and understand this, so that when we do go outside of ourselves, we can do it in a more deliberate, authentic, genuine, and correct way. Otherwise, we're just going to relive the stuff that happened in the past, and it may even be worse. Because the one thing that I do know is that the universe does have these particular laws that we operate by, and conditions don't just stay the same. They either get better or worse. And so now that we have a way of looking at the individual and then understanding the individual dynamic and how it folds into partnerships, folds into the team dynamic and larger, we can change a lot of the old habits and change a lot of the old behaviors, as well as change the old paradigm and maybe just ditch it.
Yeah.
Right. And do something that is more, I'm going to keep using this word for lack of a better one, but it's doing something that's more correct. I mean, it is 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact is that what once worked is no longer working and will no longer work moving forward into the future. We are in dramatically shifting times, probably one of the biggest shifts in humanity for a very, very long time. And so you're either on board with the shift and recognizing that things are changing. So how do you adapt, right? We have a tool that helps you adapt, or you can get left in the wayside trying to scramble and figure out what's going on. I think this is one of the biggest advantages of this tool that we utilize, is being able to see that things are changing. And we really do need to learn to trust ourselves. We can no longer trust outer authorities. It's really about trusting our own inner authority. But most of us don't even know what that is or what that's like, because we've been lost in the dependency of what has been called the era of planning that we've been living in. And we're moving to a new era, the era of the individual, where really things are working from the bottom up instead of the top down. We're so used to the top down that we don't even know what the bottom up even looks like. But that's part of the big shift that we're in the middle of right now. And yes, Shelley.
Yeah, no, just everything you've said is really, I think, the most important piece you both have said. But just to reiterate, is really coming to discover who we are, because until we know who we are without all of the shadows and the clouds of who we're not, which is what we've been covered by for so many years, until we start to realize that we're living in a space of having been trained or conditioned to think that we need to do things in a certain way and that we should do this, we should have that kind of job. I actually had my my niece's husband tell their daughter, "Oh, honey, you can't be an artist. You've got to go be a geologist or an engineer. You won't get a job as an artist." So I was, oh my gosh, what if that's changing? What if the best thing for her to be is herself, who is someone who expresses as an artist? Maybe that is the way that she's going to make her living in the future. And for her to go do something she doesn't like or has no interest in, which is what we've all done in the past. We've all been led to believe we should just pick a good career that will pay us well and go do that. That's the paradigm that's no longer around, or the paradigm that's shifting. And the time is now for us to really deeply connect with who really are we and what is it we really want. And how do we first off become aware that we've even been conditioned, that we've even, how do we even become aware that we have these shadows clouding our viewpoint on that? That's what BG5 really helps with, is to be able to show you who you are and it'll be something you resonate with deeply. We're not going to tell you anything you don't deeply know about yourself. It's just we're giving you permission to be you, to latch on to that, and to recognize that that is who you really are, and to honor it, and to be able to then see where those shadows are that distract you away from being who you are. That's who you're going to need to be to get through these challenging times. You have your own inner navigation system, and that's the only thing you're going to be able to rely on in the future. And just, it's even so helpful just in these times, in being able to course correct and get yourself on a path that's going to help you survive and thrive, as opposed to scramble and be confused. So I'm really excited about being able to share this with people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just having the permission to be yourself. It gives you so much freedom. It gives you so much ease. It gives you so much energy that when you realize that you've been wasting your energy and not doing what you don't love, right? And trying to struggle with the way things are, when you are freed up to just truly be you, that's where the true brilliance is. And if you as a leader can empower your team to simply be themselves, imagine what's possible within the team also. Yeah, exactly. Well, we are going to have a lot more discussions like this. This is just an introduction to what we do, but what we're going to be taking a look at is we're going to be taking a look at different things in the news. We're going to take a look at different articles. We're going to take a look at different topics. Just like Shelley was talking about burnout, we're going to focus on those different elements and give you ways in which you can look at these changing times and how you can utilize BG5 and the success formula to free you up, to be yourself, to lead authentically, and to also empower your teams. Well, it has been an amazing discussion. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Rob. And if you want to get more information, if you want to download a free report, check out our website at bg5solutions.com. Also follow BG5 Solutions on LinkedIn. And join us each week as we look at current challenges and problems in leadership and business and how they can be solved with BG5. Again, thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.